You're listening to I'm Not Being Funny, but the podcast with me, Lee.
And me, Annie.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 5 of I'm Not Being Funny, but the podcast, the Halloween special.
It is. You say that like it's going to be some big extravaganza.
You've got to give them the line to get them hooked on.
Well, we've got a bit to get them. They can start chomping at this time, haven't we?
We do.
They're going to get to know us quite a bit better.
Mm-hmm. So, if you listen to episode 4, part 2, the story, you will know that we are going to be talking about why Halloween's special to us, going through some creepy and spooky encounters that we have both had, and probably something else that we think of.
Yeah.
As we're going along.
Yep. We're just winging this, flying by the seat of our pants, just to see where we go.
So, without further ado, let's begin.
I'll allow you.
Okay. So, by the time that this is being beamed into your ears, me and Annie would have been together for the past 10 years. We got together in 2014.
We did.
It was around a week or so ago now that we actually met for the first time. We met on a dating site. We met on Plenty of Fish, which was completely new for me because I'd never been on a dating app before. So,
Fuck me, I'd gone through that many first dates that were utterly disgraceful. I'd given myself one last chance. There was one more person I would talk to, and if they didn't reply, they were a fucking weirdo, or I seen them and I thought, nah, keep walking. That was it. I was giving up on Plenty of Fish. Because what a fucking disaster zone that bloody website was. And then I met you. He replied. He didn't look like a weirdo, and we actually talked for a while before jumping into meeting and being some sort of nutcase that was circling the monument into a marketplace. Doing fucking laps. He was timing himself as well. Jeez.
not me, by the way.
No.
So, yeah, we met up, went for coffee, went down to the pub, had something to eat and a drink, and went our separate ways.
We did.
Not knowing if we'd meet up again or anything.
No, but I exchanged niceties at the end. Like, hopefully see you again soon. Both walked away thinking, never say that one again.
Yep.
They're not that interested.
Yep.
And then a week later, you came to the flat.
I did. Came up to see you. For the second time.
You did.
And now, 10 years later, a few arguments, 3 kids and a marriage.
Don't forget the 3 cats, 3 fish tanks and a tortoise.
And the numerous house moves.
Oh, God. Swear to God I can't move house again. I haven't got the energy.
Just thinking about it tires us out.
Yeah.
So, you might have guessed, you might not have guessed, we got married on Halloween.
We did.
Nice little ceremony.
With our nice little baby boy.
With our nearest and dearest with us.
Yep, nice little small ceremony and a little celebration afterwards with our little boy, who was only a little baby in arms then. He was only 7 months old. But that is actually how we know how long we've been together. How long we've been married.
Yep.
He was 7 months the day we got married. So however many years he is how many years we've been married.
And we both use it as a scale.
Yep.
So neither of us really needs to feel bad about it.
Nope.
And I don't want people thinking that, like, when we got married it was all fancy dress and all that, which I would have loved, but it wasn't.
It wasn't, no.
It was your traditional, like, suit and dress wedding. I think a couple of the bits that we did weren't very traditional, as people would say, considering my best man wasn't a man.
No, she was lovely though. She dressed absolutely gorgeous that day.
She was my best friend all the way through uni. I'm still keeping in contact with her now, which is why I asked her. And I made her cry. by asking her to be the best man.
You did. And in her speech, she didn't even swear because me nana was there.
She did really well.
She did.
So that's the story of...
The meaning of Halloween to us.
Yeah.
We still... I take the kids out trick-or-treating.
I stay in and eat the sweets.
Yeah. And we do all the kids' stuff. They dress up. They love dressing up. We decorate the house up.
Yeah.
But for us, it's special because that's the day we got married. For the kids, it's special because they know that's the day we got married, but to them, that's the day they get loads of sweets.
Yeah.
That Mum and Dad sit and eat before Christmas.
Yep, and then we get the Christmas sweets that we sit and eat.
Yeah. Then we get the Easter chocolate as well.
Yeah. We do well, really, in the next, 4 months.
We do, because our kids, I mean, they ain't eating all the sweets that they get.
Make sure of that.
Well, they wouldn't anyway.
True.
Because they really don't, not that much of a sweets kind of kid, but their
Us on the
buckets are
other hand.
big.
Yeah. Anyway.
So,
the spooky side to this one, I think we'll dive into. Because it's
when we got together, we were together for about 6 weeks. And we decided that Lee lived in Stockton, I lived near Durham. We both worked full time. I was up the other side of the city. Lee was further into Stockton. So we would get to see each other when we both had time off. So we decided, why not just move in together? Because we don't see each other. We're not going to know if a relationship will work if we don't live together, because that's the only way we're going to see each other. So that Christmas, which was about 6 weeks after we'd met and started going out.
That's 6-8 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, Lee moved in on the Boxing Day.
There's a lot of people going, whoa, that was a bit fucking quick.
I think we all know people who said that to us at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I know my mum did.
You collectively heard the intake of
Yeah.
clutching at the pearls.
And that was just my mum.
It was.
But yeah, we moved in after 6 weeks. We got engaged after 6 months.
And you all know the story behind that.
Yep. But they know the story why I have an engagement necklace and ring.
Yep, if you don't know, go listen to episode 1. That explains it all.
Yep. But when we moved in together, we had, you had about 10 days or so, didn't you? Where you were in the flat on your own.
Yeah, it was very odd.
Because I worked in care. I'd be at work as normal. I mean, I worked Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I was in there in the morning. So I was off out to work, but Lee would be sitting in the flat feeling like, I'm just sitting in someone else's house here. This is really awkward.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Well,
then came your little house buddy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Keep you on your toes.
Oh, he did. My little ginger ninja.
No, I don't mean the little fluffy one. I mean the little shadowy one in the bathroom.
Oh my god. That, yes. That thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so. When this all started happening, it was always just out the corner of my eye, I was like, what's that cat doing down there? I was constantly, every couple of hours I'd see something, and 9 times out of 10 a cat would walk out.
Yeah, because when I met Lee, I had 2 black cats and a grey cat. And I'd had them since they were kittens. I'd always had the cats. So that was the main thing we used to blame. Seeing something out the corner of our eye, it was the cat.
Yeah. And for ages I just kept blaming it on that and blaming it on that. And then I got up in the middle of the night because I was busting for a pee because we'd been drinking that peach Stella.
Oh, the cedar.
Yes. And the light switch for the bathroom was an actual switch. It was on the outside wall. And I turned that on and I put my hand onto the handle and looked down, and I saw feet walk underneath the door. As a shadow, and it was casting out to me. I was like, and I turned and I could see. all 3 cats asleep. I swiftly turned the light off and went back to bed. I was like, nope, I'll wait. I ain't going in there.
See, when Lee moved in, I'd moved into the flat in 2006. So I'd already lived there for 8 years. I already knew there was something going on in that flat. We'd done a Ouija board in the garden. We'd tried all sorts to find out what it was.
I just want to point out, I did not do the Ouija board.
No, that was before I met Lee. I did it with some family and friends that I have who at the time were interested in that, and we did it in the garden. I'd put down the rule of I'm not doing it in the house, I'm not inviting anything else to live with us. So we did it in the garden instead, because we were brave.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had been going on since not long after I'd moved in. But I had a dog, I had my cats, I was like, it's fine, it'll just stop. It didn't stop.
Apparently it got worse when I moved in.
It did. It got a lot worse when Lee moved in. Apparently, whatever this was, preferred to just terrorise me. It didn't like the idea of there being anyone else there, so it tried to scare you off.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Didn't?
I mean, there was nights that we'd be laid in bed, and you'd say to me, it's like, oh, will you stop running your hand down my back? I'm facing the other way.
I remember that night. I was laying there and it was like, I distinctly felt fingers and nails, like the back of your, if you ran the back of your hand down your partner's back, like that sort of feeling, go all the way down my back. And I was like, will you stop? And as I turned, I seen you were looking, like you were facing towards the window.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to go to sleep. I'm too tired for this shit. And I went to sleep and I was like, the next morning I was like, what the fuck was that touching my back in the night? And when you looked, you found...
you had, like, a red square almost on your back. But you could distinctly see there was, like, finger marks in it as well.
Yeah, nail marks.
Yeah, I've still got that photo somewhere on my phone.
Yeah, but you could see as well that it was, like, straight down my back.
So it's not as if it's like you scratched your own back.
No, because the angle, we couldn't get my hand in the angle even if you were trying to twist it, could we?
No, and I did try.
You did. But, I mean...
I would like to say as well, it's not all like, oh, fucking hell, what the fuck happened there sort of stuff that happened to us. Because there was some funny stuff.
There was. The loaf of bread.
Yeah. I mean, that was brilliant because me and you, we were stood in the kitchen.
We'd been stood in the kitchen, but we weren't when it happened.
Oh no, because we just made a cuppa. And we were walking back from the kitchen into the living room. It was like an open plan.
Yeah, there was like an archway in between them both, but there was no door, so you could see straight into the kitchen.
And we walked through, sat down, looked up, and as we looked up, the loaf of bread that was at the back of the countertop just got hoid straight off, didn't it?
Yeah, landed in the middle of the kitchen floor. And
we just both looked at each other and started laughing.
Yeah.
Like, who is throwing bread at us? We're not ducks.
So apparently it's sauce as sitting ducks.
Apparently. That was good.
It was just like, funny things like that might happen once in a while. But
yeah.
A lot of creepy shit happened.
Yeah.
Like when I opened the bathroom door, a lot of it was centred around the bathroom. There was like, the bathroom was at the back of the flat. Then there was like a little square which had all the doors to the bedrooms, door back into the living room.
You couldn't exactly call it...
It wasn't like a hall or anything.
No,
it was just
like a cupboard.
Yeah. It was just like a space you went into to go to another room.
Yeah.
And it would happen either in that bit or in the bathroom. Before you went in, you would see. Because when I had the dogs... And I had a dog after I'd moved in, like Lee had moved in. And when we had the dog, with not having a kitchen door, if the dog was too excited and he needed to go and calm down, we'd put him in the bathroom. So we'd shut the dog in the bathroom, leave him to calm down, but you'd leave the light on for him at night time, because why would he want to be in the dark?
Yeah.
But then you'd see, and this was like a concrete floor, because it was a ground floor flat. So the second the dog moved his foot, you'd hear him.
Yeah.
But you could see feet and legs moving in the bathroom. You could even see the shadow cast by your body. from the light. But the dog, you could open the bathroom door and the dog would be like, he'd look up at you like, fuck off, I'm trying to get some sleep.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what the fuck is going on in here? Or you'd see, or you'd feel it walk past you, like brushing past you like a really long cat.
Yeah.
Like low down on your leg and it would touch you.
Mm. I mean, the freakiest thing that happened to me there was I was laid in bed and I was laid on my front, which I hardly ever did. And I was laid there and I was facing the window and I felt a hand, like all the fingers, like touch me at the top of my head and just run down, like dig the nails in. And it was that real. I actually like arched away from it and woke up going, yeah, trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And there was nothing there. You were snoring away, so I knew it wasn't you.
Snore what you on about.
And I kind of like snuggled down into the cover and just snuggled into you like, I don't like this. I want to sleep. Because I don't do horror movies. I detest them.
No, if I make Lee sit through a horror movie, then we've got to sit and watch like hours worth of cartoons, so we'll go to sleep again.
I am like a child.
You are.
But I don't care. I don't do horror.
I do. I miss horror films. But anyway,
it didn't get any better when we moved, though, either, did it?
Well, for me, it started when I was a little kid, and I lived in a house where family was murdered.
I mean, that'll definitely stir something up.
Because we were told by the neighbour who'd lived there for a number of years before we'd moved in, and the murder had happened before he moved in, but he'd been told about it.
Wow.
And apparently it was a family of 3, I think he said. But yeah, you would hear that. There was a lot of stuff went on in the house where I grew up. And then I moved into the flat and it got a bit darker.
Yeah.
And then we moved close to where we live now, didn't we? And it got really dark.
Yeah, part of it did. I remember. But nothing stands out from around there. For me, anyway. It's more when we moved...
Up the hill.
With
a little boy.
Yeah.
God, that creeped the living shit out of me, that one. So, when we moved into the first house out of the flat, our son was only still a little baby in arms. And we lived there for about a year, so he was toddling when we moved again to downsize so that Lee could learn to drive.
Yeah.
So we get this house and we were already expecting the middle child. So we knew this house was just a stopgap because it was only a 2-bed, but it was going to get us the money so that Lee could get through his driving test.
Which I did first time.
All right, you smug twat. And we move into this house thinking nothing of it. And for a few months it was quite quiet, wasn't it?
It was.
And we thought, we've left it all behind in the flat. Whatever it was, it stayed there to left us be. And then we started hearing voices.
Yeah, I mean, at first we put it down to next door.
Yeah, we thought, it's next door, but no, this is the house where the neighbour next door was silent.
Yeah, they either had really good soundproofing or just went in, fell asleep and got up and went to work.
Yeah.
They didn't even go for a shit.
Yeah. And we would hear these voices and we'd be like, it must just be outside. And like we were coming up with the daft excuses and we'd hear like bumps and stuff and we'd be like, we always had cats, we still have cats.
Yeah.
So we were like, it's just the cat's being clumsy. Then one day, I was in the kitchen, I was tidying up and preparing something to eat for me and the oldest one, making the bottle for the baby that I'd already had by then. We were getting all prepared to like sit down, get the baby back to sleep after a bottle, get the toddler to have his dinner, probably have a nap. He wasn't even 2. And I'm just in the kitchen and the baby's in a pram in the kitchen with me. My son was playing in the living room, which is like the next room. And I walked past the kitchen door and I was like, hang on, my friend's not here, her son's not here. what the fuck was that? And I back up, and this is in a split second, and I back up, and I see the back of a child walking away from my son. And I'm like, what the fuck? I only have one. Even now, I only have one son. And I'm like, what? So I went up to my son, and I was like, who are you playing with? Who was that you were playing with? Mammy seen there. That's my friend.
I remember because, oh God, this gave me the chills talking about it. We went upstairs afterwards, like on the night, and went to put him to bed. Everything was normal. Shut the door. And that's when I noticed that there was a name carved into the door with like a compass, but I can't remember the name.
Ben.
That's what it was. And it was carved in.
It was down to the wood.
Yeah.
Carved the paint off, and you could, like, it was the wood, you could see the letters for the name.
Yeah. But it was at a height that an adult would have done.
Because it was like eye level to catch your eye, and then you showed me, and you were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And we never knew who Ben was, because, I mean, this was a privately rented house. There was no history with it. The neighbours never really got on with the private tenants, because private tenants don't tend to stick around long.
No. Is that the one, that house, was that the one that you text me when I was on my way to work saying, are you back in the house? Or was that the other one?
What was that one?
Yeah. Got a text.
I'd heard the keys go in the front door.
And you heard somebody walking up the stairs. And by the time, right, for context so they can paint a picture in the head of how it was laid out, our front door led straight onto the stairs.
Yeah, you'd literally like step in, there was space for the door to open, and the stairs were right there.
So you could literally get to the stairs from the front door and come straight up. When you got to the top of the stairs, there was a wall with a sliding door, which was the bathroom, and then there was like essentially like a hairpin turn, and that took you to the 2 bedrooms, which were 4 steps away from the top of the stairs. When Annie had heard all this noise and everything, she went to the top of the stairs and put her head round the corner. Nothing there.
Yeah.
Door was shut, unlocked. There was no keys in the door.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Like, she texted me saying, I thought you'd come home because I heard you coming up the stairs, and when I called out there was nothing, so I came and put my head round and there was nothing there apart from a high-heeled shoe.
Yeah, there's a random high-heeled shoe, and I'd kept that in the flat because I used to get a bit of shit when I lived on my own. Chav little scums. And I used to have this high-heeled stiletto. It was about as thick as a pencil. And I'd looked at it at one point and I was like, if I hit someone in the head with that, that's going to hurt. So that became like my weapon of choice next to the front door, on top of the shoe stand, so it wasn't like...
It didn't stand out.
It didn't stand out. No one was going to look at it and think, what the fuck's that there for? And this bright yellow stiletto, there was only one because the other one got thrown away, was literally middle of the stairs, halfway up. But that shoe, I hadn't seen since we'd moved out the flat. It just disappeared, hadn't it?
Yep.
Because that's what we both said that night when you came in. You were like, this is the same shoe. How is this the same shoe?
Yeah. Because we've not seen it for, it was what, a good year, 2 years nearly?
2 years, yeah.
And then after that we decided, do you know what, we need a bigger house anyway.
Well, we'd already said we needed the bigger house because 2 kids in a 2-bed house.
Not good.
Not ideal.
No.
But while I remember, when we lived in the flat, when the son was like newborn, he was about 8 weeks old, I'd been in the garden hanging washing.
Yeah.
And I'd heard the voice come over the baby monitor, which I'd took out with me. And then that happened again in this house, didn't it?
It did.
The same baby monitor.
Yeah.
I'd left a baby monitor in the living room with the baby that was asleep. I'd took the toddler with me into the garden, and the baby monitor was on the table in the garden, turned right up. And again, I heard giggling and talking.
Yeah.
But the baby was in on her own. There was no one in with her because she was asleep.
Yeah.
And that was the point where we were like, maybe it didn't leave us. Maybe it was just being quiet when we lived in the other house.
Yeah. And then we moved to the other side of the neighbours.
Yeah. We literally moved like one house away.
Yep. It was big though.
It was.
It was fit for purpose.
To some points.
To some points.
Still like to know why I never got a wardrobe door though.
Just one of those things, wasn't it?
Yep.
And there, it kind of dulled down.
Yeah, it did. For quite a while.
I did see at one point, because I've got my keys on the lanyard and it's one of the breakaway ones. I never have my keys around my neck. I like them because then I know where they are, and for how clumsy I am when I go to drop them, I've got something to grab hold of that I'm not going to impale my hand on. So they were in the back of the door as they always were. The door was locked and I heard a jingle when it was my keys. And I mean, that door wasn't exactly windproof, so the wind could blow through, and for how windy it was, I thought, oh, maybe it's just the wind's blowing through, it's catching the lanyard and it's moving it. And this went on for like 3-4 weeks. It was like at least twice a week we'd hear that. And at one point I was actually coming out of the living room and I just got to the corner where the door is, and I turned, and as I turned I saw the lanyard get picked up and quickly dropped, because it went to like a right angle and then got dropped, and I saw it swing, and then the keys got physically like moved. It looked like somebody had slapped them. I was like, that wasn't the wind. I was like, it wasn't a cat.
Yep.
But that was really the only notable thing that happened there.
It was the only big thing, yeah.
I mean, there was little things. There was things that went missing and had turned up in random places. That still happens now.
It does.
But I don't know if that's kittens, kids, or forgetfulness. Because it could be any of them.
That was the house where our son said what he said.
Yes.
When the youngest child was born. Which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's in...
Is it in episode 3 or is it in F-Bomb Mom?
I think it might be in F-Bomb Mom.
Go give them both a listen anyway. You'll find out what it is. It's not something that we're going to keep bringing up.
No, it's not something I tend to talk about. But he said something there that was quite...
creepy. Apt. On the nose.
I'm thinking more, it was like... I ain't forgetting what he said in a long time.
No.
It's been a long time. It's nearly 4 years since he said it, and I still remember it like it was yesterday.
You can still hear him before his voice started to get better as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But we don't know what it is that follows us. We've tried all sorts. We've tried smudgings. We've tried... saging. We've tried not talking about it, which in the 2-bed house, when we first moved up the hill,
Didn't work.
Was... Not talking about it in the house worked. After we'd seen the little boy. Because, I mean, that little boy, he was creepy little shit.
Just the back of his head.
Yeah.
All the time.
Because you never saw a face.
Yeah.
But then you'd hear the giggling, the chatting and babbling away.
Yeah. And then we moved here, and...
It's been 2 years in this house now.
It has. It's been relatively alright.
Yeah. Nothing overly weird happens.
No.
The big thing I think that's changed it is I've lost my parents.
Yeah.
And I think now my parents watch out, because both of my parents knew the hell I went through in the flat.
Yeah.
Because we all lived in that house where I grew up. So there was no question in whether my parents believed in spirits. They both did. They'd both witnessed their own stuff. But I think that's partly what it is here.
Yeah.
They keep an eye, they make sure, but as well, we have quite a few religious artefacts in the house for people who aren't religious.
Yeah, we do.
our daughter, the middle one, decided she was going to a church one day when I was in the city. She decided that there's a church in Durham City. You're going to the marketplace and there's a church. She was like, Mummy, can we go in there? It's like, if we must. I mean, in this church, we had, as teenagers, defaced the visiting book.
Not me, by the way.
No, not Lee. No, I didn't meet Lee when I was a teenager. This was about 10 years before I met him. We wrote a lot of things in that visiting book that I'm fairly sure they just gave up on that one and got a new one. And this was the same day that a person in the group that I was in decided to burn a Bible in the cathedral. So needless to say, I am not in the slightest bit religious, but my daughter wanted to go to a church, so I obeyed the order and took her into a church. We went and sat on the seats, and she spotted under the seat in front of us the Bible. She picked it up and she said, Mammy, what's this? Bearing in mind she was about 2 at the time, so she wasn't talking clearly, but being a mum, I could understand what she was saying. And I said to her, that's a storybook. Can we take storybook home? And I was like, oh, for God's sake, it's not bad enough that I'm in a church now I've got to buy a fucking Bible. Never reading the Bible to your child. You'll never read the Bible. It's still on the fucking glass shelves at the front door.
Nice.
The church decided to give her it because she was interested. Great. But yes, we've also now got rosaries.
And we've got 2 Bibles in the house now.
We have, because I have my mum's Bible.
You do?
Yeah, we've got rosaries in every room.
Yeah.
We've got books on Buddhism. We've got... I don't think we have any Buddhas in the house now.
Yeah, still got your little red ones.
Ooh, I don't know where they are, but they're kicking about somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have quite a few religious articles because, well, I started collecting them when shit was going down. And now I've got enough for, we can all wear one if it starts to get properly scary.
Start putting salt in your shoes, it'll be fine.
Don't know, I might start smoking. Out of me toes.
It'd make your Crocs look really cool, though.
It would. My flowery Crocs.
Yes. And also, we went on a ghost hunt.
We did, not long after we met, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was...
It was like the year after, wasn't it?
It was, and I believe it was the November. No, it was before because it wasn't quite dark by 9:30ish.
So probably sometime around this time of year.
Yeah, and me, you, and a group of people that I knew, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So, took Annie down because we both had an interest in it. And we did find out things about from where it was. It was at a Methodist church. And
to those people who don't know what a Methodist church is, it's a chapel. Chapels are nicer places than churches because people in there aren't so up their own arse.
And we split up into groups, 2 groups, and went round doing our own thing. I got bullied into doing a Ouija board, which is one thing I said I would never do.
I did not bully you into doing a Ouija board. I told you were doing the Ouija board because we needed one more person.
And I said no.
And I said yes.
And my hands ended up on the planchette. I was like, fuck. And as it was Ouija boards for me was something that I never wanted to do. Never wanted to do because I thought they were a bit dodgy, it's people moving them. My own personal experience from having my hand on it and feeling it move, knowing that I wasn't moving it, was the creepiest thing ever.
Because when you're doing a Ouija board, you can feel the slightest thing through the 2 fingers you've got on the planchette. Because you rest them on so gently, the tips of your fingers are barely touching it. So if someone was moving it, you'd feel the pushing.
Mm-hmm. That was the creepiest thing that had happened until the message we got through.
Well, for me, that night, the creepy shit started. We all went into, like, this hall room, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like, where we'd all meet up. They took food, the people who'd arranged it and everything. So, I mean, it wasn't just the group that me and you were with. There was a few other people in this as well.
Oh, there was. I mean, there was about 30 of us.
Yeah.
That, like, I think by about 11, it dwindled down to, like, there was only 20 of us because people just didn't like it there.
Yeah. But we got into this room and all, like, figured out who we were with and all that. And we went into the back room and the other group went upstairs.
Yeah.
So we sitting in the back room and the lad who was with us was like, I'm going to turn the lights out, I just want you to talk. And if you've got your phone, put your flash on. And I blinded one of your friends and he kept shouting at us, didn't he?
You got to tell me when you're taking a picture, I can't say.
And we were just sitting on the floor and we were like, getting a bit bored now. Do you think he's noticed that it's getting a bit boring, or do you think he's fallen asleep? And at that, like, me and Lee were sat together just being stupid. And I turn around as this bloke goes to put the light on. And, like, we ended that room, the session we were doing in that room.
The sitting.
And I swear to God, somebody threw an invisible black pair of rolled up socks. But you know where you just turn the tops over, like the cuff of the sock, to hold them together? And, like, the little tail bits flying in the wind. That came flying at my face. I nearly shit my pants. And then the light came on. And I was like, what the fuck? Sensory overload.
So, do you remember what came through on the Ouija board?
My grandma.
Yes, that was freaky. Thankfully, though, one of my very, very good friends, Mams, was there, and she was holding your hand through it. Mm-hmm. After, like, as one of the other blokes that were there said, you got semi-possessed. He said, I'd never seen that before. It was quite cool. It depends, though, because the poor lass sat opposite you at the other end of the table. You looked like you were going to jump over the table and rip her throat out.
I was just looking at the corner of the Ouija board. I couldn't lift me head up, which I kept saying to the bloke who we were with, me head stuck.
Yeah, your head was stuck, but your eyes weren't.
Well, all I could see was the corner of the board.
Oh, you weren't looking at the board, I can tell you that.
No, that's all I could see.
Well, yeah, because we all got back together, if you remember, and we all went upstairs, because that's where...
Because we'd had, like, a break after that room, went out, had a fag,
went back for a pee.
Yeah, come back in, loo, drink, and then we swapped areas with the other group.
We did. Not a lot really happened.
No, because we went upstairs and we were all railroaded in. I've brought a Ouija board with us.
Yeah, so there was, 20 of us in this room. There was quite a few people that said they weren't doing the Ouija board. Mm-hmm. They were, like, sat at the back. And then one of the guys that was there who, like, had brought all the equipment and everything, he said, I'm not going to do it because I'm actually, like, attached to the board and there's things that come through, which, from what we heard from the other group, was completely true because it was coming through. It was saying the bloke's name, I can't remember what it was called, but it was going, fuck you, and then the name. Mm-hmm. And, like, everyone was hearing it. So we're there, we're doing the Ouija board, it's moving, and a message comes through from somebody called the Warden.
Yeah.
And it comes through and it spells out, all men must burn. And with that, within about 30 seconds, all the lads sat round this table going, it's getting fucking warm, like. It's getting really fucking warm.
There was way more blokes in our group than there was women. There was about 5 women, wasn't there?
There was, yeah.
And we were all sat round the table. So I had Lee, like, stood behind me, like, to the side of me. And he's saying how hot he is. And I'm like, are you feeling a bit hot? Because I'm not. I'm just right. I was like, I'm quite comfortable. I think I had a hoodie on or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm quite comfortable. It's not that hot. I don't know what you're on about. But then they decided there was going to be another break, didn't they?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, it's getting a bit much up here. So we'll head downstairs because there's a lot of us in this room and it could be making it hot.
Yeah.
So we all get up, go downstairs, go out to have a tab again. And I'd given Lee a hug. As we got downstairs, and I was like, Jesus Christ, where have you been sat on top of the radiator? You were burning.
Yeah, I told you. Nobody believed me because there was me and 3 other lads that all said how hot we were, because there was me and you gave me a good like, Jesus Christ, you are hot. Then there was another lad that I knew off the Xbox who was with his missus, and she was like, Jesus, he's burning as well. I was like, see, it's not just one of us.
No.
And there was no heating on in that place at all.
Wait, the place, it was like...
It was almost like a village hall.
Yeah, because that's what it was used as, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They do church services in there sometimes, but it wasn't constantly used as a church. It was used more as like a venue.
Yeah. And after this break, and like the lads that got like affected by it had cooled down and I'd calmed down and stopped shaking, we went back in and like, oh, we're doing the Ouija board again. And everyone looked at me. I was like, well, I don't have much choice, do I?
And this was the point where we all sat around this like a square table, wasn't it? Like a rectangle.
We crammed everybody into this room, and
there's me sat on one end, like one side, the long side, at a corner, and then there's a lad who Lee used to live with, was at the end of the table. We both sat there, and we both away doing what we were doing.
We got a message through, and it said, "I'm the Joker, ha 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 ha. I cause mischief," wasn't it? Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's a bit weird. And like, I could see where Annie and my mate were sat, and I could see that the bloke who brought all, who was stood watching it, was there, and he turned away for a second, and he turned back, and he stood there, and he's leant over with his hands behind his back, just watching. He just leans back and pulls this teddy up and puts it right next to my mate's face. And he turns and sees it, and he lets out the squealiest squeal ever, and everybody bursts out laughing.
But that was just the tip of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the bloke...
we were sat next to each other, me and this bloke, and we were quite friendly. We got on quite well, didn't we?
You did.
And we just sat there, and all of a sudden, together, in synchrony, our arms start raising up.
Yes.
And it was the pair of us, our hands were in the same position, our arms were at the same level, but it didn't hurt because somebody was holding our hands.
Yeah, but it was like both right arms, wasn't it?
No, it was both hands that were together.
Oh, it was, sorry, yes.
Because
So
we both had our hands on the table.
Yeah.
And they just raised up.
Yeah,
but we
nobody
both
else
said
is.
the same. We couldn't move our arm down. We couldn't because there was something under it stopping it.
Yeah.
And it was like somebody was holding our hand up, stopping us putting our arms down.
Yeah.
Because that was when my head got like frozen, and I was looking at the girl in front of us apparently, but all I could see was the corner of the board, and I was like, I can't move my head. I don't know why, but my head feels really heavy and I can't move it. And that was when the other bloke who'd gone, who was in the other group, when we'd had the next break, said, that's a partial possession, she needs to be careful.
Yeah. Because what had happened, as it started, like a message started to come through, you jumped in and said, I know who this is, I know it's such and such. Mm-hmm. Which was a mistake.
It was. I'd only ever done the Ouija board once before, though.
Well.
And it was sort of the blind leading the blind doing that Ouija board sessions. Because there was me and there was the mum of one of the people who were there who'd done them before. Even the lad who was running our session hadn't done a Ouija board before.
No.
Just brought her with him.
Yeah, so that kind of... It didn't start off well.
It was a bit of a shitstorm waiting to happen.
Yeah, and it did happen.
It did.
And there's been one rule that I've had ever since then. Mm-hmm. And what is that rule?
Never bring a Ouija board in the house.
And what did you do?
I bought a new Ouija board.
Just gave everybody a second there so they could have a good laugh. Mm-hmm. It's been my one rule.
Oh, it's your one thing that you want to bin, you want to burn, you want to just have a ceremony for it.
Yeah, but I daren't.
No, you don't even touch it. You see it in a box when we move in house, which we do an awful lot for how long we've been together.
Yeah, and I look at it like...
I'm like, fine, I'll move it again.
Yep, I won't even touch
it's
the box.
It's never been used.
I don't care.
Because I'm not allowed to use it.
No, you're not, because you keep saying, I'll do it in the house. You will not.
I'll take you to a graveyard and we'll do it there.
No, I'm not doing a fucking Ouija board again.
You've already done it once, you'll be fine. We know what not to do now.
Yeah, listen to you.
I
Let you
have
jump in on
very
people.
good ideas.
Just very poor execution.
You got to learn by mistakes. But this Ouija board has never been used. It's never...
Never will be used.
It will. It's never... It has been out the box because I've had a look at it. It's very beautiful. But you're not supposed to keep the planchette and the board together once they're being used, which Lee keeps having to go at me for because they're together. He doesn't seem to realise they're not being used, so there's nothing wrong with it. When they are used, then we'll have to move them. We'll have to have them in separate places. You can shake your head all you want. They will be used. I'm only young. Got all my life yet.
From everything that happened, that's kind of when you started to see Ghost Adventures.
Well, I started watching Ghost Adventures when I was working night shift.
It was kind of a mistake, wasn't it? Because you fell asleep with the TV on.
Yeah, I always have to, even now, most nights, I have to have some background noise to fall asleep. It is a sign of trauma, yeah, I know. But it helps me fall asleep. And, well, Lee's used to sleeping with the TV on.
I am now.
So, I'd work night shift in this petrol station that I worked in when I was early stages pregnancy first time round. And I'd come home, Lee would have already gone to work, so I'd have a cuppa, close all the curtains again, then get my eye mask, stick a telly on in the bedroom, stick it on, I can't remember what channel it was.
Really?
Then curl up in bed, put my eye mask on, then change my mind, take my eye mask off because it's squeezing my face, and fall asleep listening to Ghost Adventures. Except after about 6 weeks I started staying awake and watching Ghost Adventures, and then I'd go to sleep afterwards. So it turns out Ghost Adventures really good if you believe in that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely a good watch.
It
you
is.
get some proper laughs at it. And then I introduced Lee to Ghost Adventures.
I'd previously watched things like Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding and Derek, I'm About to Be Possessed, Okara.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, at the time it was what was on Most Haunted, it was called.
Most shit.
Yep. And then we've also discovered Project Fear.
We did. That was really good.
Yep.
And then we're at a point now where we've watched most of the TV that we like in all the genres of TV. So we on like YouTube, and we found some YouTubers that do like
True crime.
Well, no, because we didn't start with true crime on YouTube. We started with recordings of like. Not people wouldn't break in, there's no breaking and entering in these.
Oh, urbexins.
No. When they were going in to the haunted places, but it was just the two blokes. Do you remember the two funny as fuck blokes?
Oh.
The chunky one with the big beard.
Yes. I do. I know the one you mean now.
I can't remember what they called, but they were really good. They were really funny. But they'd find stuff, they'd hear stuff, they'd see stuff, and it'd be like, so that happened, but now we're going this way.
We're going to run in that direction.
Yeah. And Ghost Brothers.
Oh, they are fantastic. They are so funny.
They are hilarious. But then something weird will happen and one of them runs off. Is like, I'm out of here. I'm not here for this shit.
Oh, it's so good because they're like your stereotypical black men in horror films or like Scary Movie. Mm-hmm. Like Darnell.
They're like three black men who do it. They all know each other previously, and they go places in America that are haunted. It's most of the things we watch are like the same sort of premise, aren't they, when it comes to spirits?
And they are so goddamn funny.
They really are. And if you watch the programmes, that's the sort of night we had in Yarm, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
That's the sort of like idea of what we went to do.
Yeah.
This ghost hunt was how it was put to us, and we were like, oh, because I turned around to you and said, oh, they do them in Durham around Halloween. They could do like ghost walks with a speaker. He'll tell you like scary stories of Durham.
It turned out it wasn't anything like that.
No, we were indoors, which was really good because that night when we'd set off on the bus, it was wet.
It was. But then from that, we've watched pretty much all of the paranormal stuff.
Yep.
And surprisingly, there's quite a lot of the paranormal stuff that kind of links in with the cults as well.
Lee's got a huge thing on cults.
Oh, I absolutely love how somebody, mainly in America, they can be like, I am God's word, give me all your money. And there's people going, okay.
Yeah. They like go to work and work the jobs as like lawyers and stuff, because we found another YouTuber who does a lot of cases on cults.
She's brilliant.
And there's some of them where she's like, these are people are lawyers and they've got like high-end jobs that are really well paying, and they go to work and they hand over their whole paycheck at the end of the month to the cult leaders. And these people are like multi-millionaires renting out Hollywood mansions for people to live in.
Yeah.
With the money that people are making and given to the cults. It's like, well, when you first started coming and staying, that was when he learned I have to go to sleep with the TV on.
Yep.
And I was in the middle of rewatching True Blood, so I restarted it again so you could watch it all, because I'm kind like that.
And you wanted to watch it again?
I could watch that any time. I love that show. We may have to start watching it again tomorrow. And we watched True Blood, and it was the song, wasn't it? It was at our wedding.
Yep. Bad Things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go on YouTube it.
Yep, that is our song.
Yep.
I still have it on every single playlist as well.
We had sex to that song an awful lot, didn't we?
We did. Like, at the end and beginning of every single episode.
Yeah.
It was on.
Yep.
So it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it did happen.
Many, many times. And then...
Supernatural.
Well, not quite. You're rushing ahead of yourself here.
It was the look you gave me.
We love True Blood that much that we have a child named after our favourite character. But we don't like naming our children on the podcast.
We try not to.
We do our best not to. I'm a proper name dropper, and Lee has to go through every episode we put out and try and get every time I drop the names in, edited out.
I do miss some because there's so many.
Yeah, you should see his eye rolls when I'm like, pause, you need to edit that, so you need to know where this mark is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, one of our children is named from a character in True Blood.
Yep. And then...
If you know their name, please do not comment it on here. If you want to have a guess at their name, you're welcome to try on
You
TikTok.
can message us.
You can message us. Or so if you want to have a bit of a stab in the dark at who's named what, you're welcome to go and find them TikToks and comment. See if you get any of them right.
Yeah.
We won't be saying on there though, because
No.
it's just something we don't want people to be able to call out our kids' names in the street.
Yeah. Another one of our favourite shows. Lucifer.
We both found that one, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I'd heard about it at work when I was working down Stockton. And I'd got confused with another one. I thought they were on about Luther. So I didn't really listen to it. And then it came up. I was like, oh, I'm sure I've heard something about this. Put it on.
Oh, it's so funny.
It is fantastic.
So funny.
It is so good.
It's so dry. It's proper British humour.
In America.
Confused Americans.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's so good.
Which, if you know us, you know the story of another one of our children is named from a character in Lucifer.
Lucifer. Yes. A very kick-ass character.
We've got a fair few favourite episodes on there, but we don't have a song from that one.
No.
It's just, even my mum had started watching Lucifer, and even she was like, I like the stories, because it's good that it's got a story, but it's also funny. And I was like, yeah, it is. I was like, that's why we love it.
Yep.
And then there is the Supernatural. We both like Supernatural, don't we?
Yeah, I watched that before I knew you.
I had.
So
I'd got so far up on it, and then it stopped being on the TV channel, or it was put on later or something, and I was at work, so I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
So we binge watched loads of that, didn't we?
We did.
But is there any more TV shows along the Halloween theme?
Yeah, American Horror Story.
Oh God, here we go. It's going to start ranting again.
You said, "Oh, it was not that bad. It's not. Give it time. It'll get better. It'll get better."
Because every other season had.
It had. Cult, on the other hand. What a crock of shit. You said, "Oh, the next episode will be better." That was the final episode, and you were still trying to defend it.
It was utter shit, but every other one had like a purpose to it, and that one just didn't.
No, it didn't.
Oh, it was brain numbing.
I can't even remember how we found American Horror Story.
I think we both heard people talking about it, hadn't we?
Yeah, and we sat and watched the first season of it. And from then on, that was it.
Yeah.
My favourite of all the seasons, though, is still Coven.
Yep.
It was brilliant. It was so well written.
We do still have a couple of seasons of that to still watch as well.
Yeah, it's 1984 is one of them, I think.
I know we started watching the one with Lady Gaga, and it was just
Hotel.
shit.
Yeah.
We both agreed that it was like cult, and we were just going to leave that episode and move on to the next series.
Next season. And we did.
We did.
But I think that's really the end of like the Halloween-y ones.
Yeah.
Or the spooky ones.
Because we've got mountains of TV shows we've watched.
Oh, we do.
I mean, we've run out of TV now. We're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Finding different genres on there to watch.
Yeah. Hence the true crime and the cult.
Yeah.
They're two.
They're two like genres that we've been watching lately.
I know in the previous episode you said how like missing people freak you out.
It does.
So I suppose in a way it is kind of Halloween-y.
It is. Missing people, I don't understand. Because I've always been a fan of horror movies. I used to sit at 10-year-old and watch bloody Hellraiser with my brother and his best mate. That would be our, like, my mum and dad are out, that's our night's entertainment. And it's just, horror movies don't scare me. But then I'm like, I can be sitting watching something about vampires or some sort of monster, and I'm like, so is this where missing people go? Because they can't just disappear. There's no such thing. There's no possible way of just vanishing and never being seen again.
See, I'm the other way around. I don't like the horror movies. But if, like, we're sat watching something like one of the paranormal things, that doesn't scare me. Even though that's real life.
Yeah, but you're also the same one who still has to watch something else, like a palate cleanser, you say.
Yes.
If I make you sit and watch Ghost Adventures before I go to bed.
I've got better.
You sit on your phone for an hour.
Have I got better?
Because you sit on your phone for an hour.
Beside the point.
That is the point. You still watch cartoons.
I do. But it helps me sleep and I don't have scary dreams.
The scary dreams are why you do it, though.
No, it's not. I don't want to be scared. I don't like being scared.
I don't like being scared, but if you watch enough horror films, they're not scary anymore. They're just fun. But yeah, I've always been a fan of horror films, and like you'd see people vanishing there.
Yeah.
And I've watched true crime for quite a while now. Pretty much the 7 years I haven't worked since I got fired.
Yeah.
I've watched like true crime through the day when you would be at work and you would come in and be convinced I was going to kill you in your sleep. Still haven't, by the way.
I'd also like to point out that, you know, there's a few people out there that are saying, if I ever go missing, they're coming to you first. Because you said you love horror, so there's got to be like a horror film that freaks you out.
The one film that freaks me out, and it's the only one that I will not watch, is A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, fair enough. I can understand that.
But any other film I'm up for.
Yeah.
I watch it once, and if it's shit, I'll turn it off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite happy watching like stuff like Saw. I suppose you can't really class this one as a horror, but I don't mind Jeepers Creepers.
Okay. That's definitely not a horror.
It's not. But
It's stupid, but it's not a horror.
I've
It's your sort of humour.
yeah, I've been trying to get braver with the films, haven't I?
Do you think that's brave?
I've been trying to. I watched Paranormal Activity. That
From
was a
behind
mistake.
your pillow.
I've got PTSD from that.
It's not even scary.
I've got nothing.
You haven't.
No. So yeah, that is that.
Mm-hmm.
That is our story of Halloween. Our spooky stories. Taking the piss out of me for not liking horrors and being a big wimp.
Girls' blouse.
Let us know in the comments if you have a favourite horror film, favourite horror character, any weird ass spooky stories, because we enjoy reading them.
Oh, we definitely do, and you might get featured. We might start and bring that in. Because we have a few specials that are coming up that are going to turn into features we've already decided, haven't we?
We do. We have